Collab, man. Oakland Vallejo, the Bay Area, stand up. I'm from that town. She from Vallejo. Said let's collab. She said, okay, we all should play. Hot potato, whoever got the hottest vibe wants the name. Challenge accepted, it's me, I'm the best. Like creative players on hunters, no less. The lines in your forehead just told me you stressing. Got G-O-D on me side, ooh, he blessed me. All these lies they tell it's a vaccine. They're acting it's a pet like it's wrestling. Keep my circle so small it's insane. If you made the cut then you're part of my team. Just like blowing that prank call strikes don't cut her. Attracted to the mind but I like mine's hooder. She gotta have a pretty face too.
Hello, good afternoon and or good evening. Welcome to the B3ST Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. We are here to go over 90 Day The Single Life, the tell-all part 5. It's crazy that there were really 5 parts to this entire thing. Doesn't make any stinking sense whatsoever, but we have finally reached the end of it. Shout out to Also Best. Thank you for being here first. You're hella funny. He's like, I'm here first. All right. He is the first person here. I do thank you for all of your support. Be sure to be on the lookout for Also Best channel. He's going to have a lot more content coming to you soon. I will be featured in some of that content. You can head over to youtube.com/@OSOB3ST. We're going to start posting content on both channels because, you know, we want to reach a broader audience. We want to see more of you guys. Anywho, jumping into this tell-all. This was a lot, y'all. This episode, it was genuinely a lot. I was a little worn out. But I understand why they made it 5 parts, but I was just like, this was weird. So we come back, and the last thing we saw was Jamal flirting with Veronica, like they was going to hook up and have a quick little booty call. But then we hear him and Louisa talking about how they had a fun night together. Turns out the two slept together. Apparently, they had a bit of fun after leaving the hotel. They wound up in each other's rooms. So they slept together. They admit to hooking up, and then they end up leaving together. You know, I don't really care that they hooked up. It's just like, why did you go out there hollering at him about all of that, knowing that you are now with his ex's ex? That's just messy to me. So I'm looking at Louisa like, you're cute, but not that cute, girl. You're doing too much. So meanwhile, we see Chantel teaching Miss Debbie to twerk. It was cute. Again, I don't know if Chantel should be teaching anyone to twerk, but that's what she wanted to do. So that's what she did. So we then get back to the stage and they bring out Mama Debbie, the older Debbie. They bring out Caesar. And then Josh comes back on stage because we're coming back to finish discussing Natalie. Now, Natalie, this is where it gets interesting because Michael comes out. And Michael is her actual husband. But this is the husband that she left. They had their story on 90 Day. This is who she originally came to America to be with. So Michael comes out and they ask about his thoughts on everything because, mind you, we saw the season end with her trying to get back with Michael and wanting to have a baby with him and all of these things. And it's like, I don't think that he's going to want to have a baby with you after you ran to another state because you didn't want to be with him and then you chose to be with some other guy because he could do more for your career. Now you suddenly want to be with him because the other guy don't want you. Natalie is like classic gold digger. It really does annoy me. It really is annoying. It's genuinely annoying because it's like, I don't like when people use people, whether you're a woman or a man. I think that's whack. And I can't feel bad for any of her tears, which we'll get a lot of throughout this reunion. So, you know, he basically says about Natalie what's true. There's a lot of indecisiveness and drama that comes with her, which I personally agree with. I think that she is incredibly indecisive. And with that comes drama. She gets in these like dramatic things, kind of throws temper tantrums, even though she's almost 40. I don't understand it, but it looks like Michael's pretty done with it by making that comment. So they move on to discuss Natalie asking Michael for a family and wanting to have children. And Natalie said a bunch of BS. I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't care much for what she said. She didn't really explain much. I don't feel she is very accountable for her part in this. I understand if you were hurt by people, but just because someone hurts you doesn't give you the right to ping pong back and forth between men, causing them pain as well. It's not okay. So Josh says that Natalie needs to figure out what she wants, which I can definitely agree with. I don't think she knows what she wants. I think the only thing she knows that she wants is for a man to pay for everything and support her and her mom. And she don't want to work, clearly. But everybody on stage sugarcoated their opinions, and I felt like it was a missed opportunity. I felt like people could have told Natalie the truth about her behavior, how it comes off, and kind of held her accountable for kind of being more focused on like material things versus actual connections. Why does Michael owe her anything when she's the one that left him? Now, because it didn't work out with somebody else, now you decide you want to be back with him? No, she doesn't deserve that much sympathy or empathy or any of it, really. But they asked Natalie what it's like seeing Mike and Josh at the same time on stage, and she starts crying, and she says that she is the problem, which I obviously agree with. But it seems like she's just crying as a way to avoid being accountable. Like, oh, she's crying, let's leave her alone. And it works per usual. But moving it along, you guys, do me a favor and like the video if you haven't already as well. To the replay gang, hello, happy Thursday. Thank you for watching. But they move on to talk about Mike. He is in a new relationship. He says it's serious. They've been talking for a year, dating for about 6 months. They want to move in together. He says that this new person loves him for him, is not concerned about what he can do. But he does let us know that he has started the divorce process, which is interesting. And that's when Big Mike has Mama Debbie get up on her cane, and she's moving as fast as she can, just in case Natalie, runs off. And she goes to get the papers, the divorce papers, to serve Natalie with. And Miss Debbie, who was on the season, she's pissed about it. She feels like she shouldn't have served her, especially if she's her friend. I don't know. She says it's cruel of Mike to do this on TV. I think it's cruel of Natalie to spend the season filming with another man while she's still married to Mike, and then come back to Mike when the other man doesn't want her. I think that Natalie is spoiled, and I just really can't understand why Miss Debbie was so upset. I understand she was upset, but no one was like calling her names, berating her. No one was doing anything that was like cruel and unusual. At the end of the day, like Mike said, they got married on TV. So I really don't see the issue in her getting served divorce papers on TV. And plus, Natalie said, I would have never signed. I'd never sign. That's what she kept saying. And for those who are unsure or do not have the knowledge, Mike has tried to divorce her before, and Natalie duck and dives it, but she cannot run off stage on the show that she was featured in. She cannot do that. So it was the perfect time to sign the papers. If she didn't want to be served publicly, she should have made herself available prior. And like Veronica says, it's better, Mama Debbie serve her than some random process server with the court, right? I mean, that's got to be a lot better than the court, in my personal opinion. So that's just how I feel, but it is what it is. Miss Debbie gets pissed and says that Mama Debbie isn't so motherly for this. And Mama Debbie comes back and calls her a bitch. I said, OMG, the old women have gone crazy. They've gone crazy. So the AARP members, they get to arguing, and we move back to Natalie to, they ask her about her feelings, and she says that she does not want the divorce, which makes no sense because you're not in love with him. He's not in love with you. You want to date other people, but you don't want to get a divorce. Now that he's moved on, you don't want to divorce him. She basically doesn't want to divorce him, in my opinion, because she wants to stay connected to him. Maybe she thinks it will impact her citizenship, because she does ask him later on in the show, will this affect Mom? Then that's exactly why he's divorcing you, because you don't put him first or even make him a thought. You're more concerned about your citizenship than you are about the fact that you're losing your husband. That to me is enough. We don't have to roast Natalie. She's a beautiful girl, seems like a nice person, but I don't think she came to America with the intention of ever working or doing anything for herself. I think she wants an American man to do it because she feels like she's beautiful. I think she wants to be barefoot, pregnant, and housewife in it. I really do. And nothing's wrong with that, but she needs to like admit it instead of bullshitting us. See, now I'm cursing already. Terrible. Anywho, he says that he cannot move on in his current relationship without ending the marriage, which is fair. He says in his future, not now, because they want to take their time, but he wants to be able to marry this woman when he feels like it. He wants to be able to have children with this woman when he feels like it. And Natalie loses it, and he has to remind her, like, homie G, you left me. It's really concerning how Natalie's acting as if she's the one that's dumped. But the reality of the situation is Natalie left him. She asked for this. She was with another person. She's only interested in Mike again because Josh don't want her. He got tired of it. So it is what it is. When they say to Josh, Mike's out of the way, you could go for it now. Now you have no reason to not commit. Josh shows that he's also not interested in Natalie because he says he watched Mike give her everything and she still was unhappy with him and still left him. And then he gave her a lot and she still tried to leave him. So he doesn't trust how homegirl is at all. And I honestly cannot blame him. I cannot blame him. I think that that's fair. Natalie, personally, I feel like she needs to start fresh and just focus on herself before getting into a relationship. I think that she's doing a little bit too much. But everybody leaves the stage. I think Natalie got exactly what she deserves. And the reunion supposedly officially ends. And that's when we get to all the crap that happened backstage that they kept filming, which I thought was kind of funny. But then at the same time, I was like, I don't know how I feel about them filming this. I just didn't know how I felt about it. But Chantel and Veronica are trying to help Natalie. And they made the joke like the three of them could go to Italy together single. I actually think that TLC should jump on this because I think that it would be an entertaining show. Three very different personalities, very different cultures of women in a different country that doesn't align with any of their cultures. I think that could be fun. Just saying, TLC, hop on it, hop on it, hop on it. Moving it along, Miss Debbie warns Natalie about Mama Debbie because she feels like she's not a friend for serving her for Mike, which I'm like, Miss Debbie, will you move on? It seems like you just like you care too much. And I don't trust I feel like Miss Debbie on the low. I love Miss Debbie, I do, but I feel like on the low, she's conservative in the negative, judgmental way. There's nothing wrong with being conservative, but she does it in a way that I think is a little bit negative or judgmental personally. But Josh and Natalie, they end up talking and he seems to want to comfort her and help her through the process of understanding her divorce paperwork and things like that. I think in order for Josh and Natalie to work, that the two of them, she would need to be accountable for her part in things. Because I think he's made it very clear. I know people like to say Josh talks in circles. I personally feel like Josh has been very clear with what he wants. Like, I'm not going to let you in until you can grow the hell up and act like an adult and stop wanting me for just what I can do and maybe hit me up just to, spend time together personally. But if she's accountable in some stuff and make some changes, I do think that Josh and Natalie could have a shot. But I don't think that they'd ever end up married or anything. So I guess in the long run, like permanently, I have no faith in them. That's kind of mean, but it is what it is, you guys. Moving it along, Mama Debbie then comes back in and she doubles down on serving Natalie. She's like, I stand by this. I'm not apologizing for it. I did what I did. I said what I said. And, I feel like it's better coming from me. Chantel then mentions how Miss Debbie commented on her outfits in a negative way. It's the way, listen, Chantel parading around, I said it in my recaps. If you look at the first recaps from earlier this season that I did, I was like, I, for one, worry about wearing a dress with no drawers because I don't want to catch no disease or even have a germ that would not normally be exposed. In my little cootie cat, I view her as a treasure, and my treasures I like to keep shined up, pristine, and beautiful. You know, treat your coochie like royalty. It should be that way, right? Anywho, Chantel wearing that one outfit was not the best. And, Miss Debbie does explain, like, I commented on that one outfit and nothing else, which is fair. But the way that she did it is she did kind of go hard. It was just like extra. It did seem like she came with a little bit of a vendetta against Chantel, if y'all know what I mean. Anywho, let's see. Tyree does try to defend Miss Debbie and says that he would not want a friend to serve him. I personally feel the same way. I would never want a friend of mine to serve me. I prefer it to be a random person that I don't know, that they don't know, that's not going to be in our business. Because if I'm dealing with court or having to be served by someone, I wouldn't want like my mutual parties involved, because essentially we're forcing them to pick a side and we ask someone to do that for us. And unless it's someone who clearly is okay with that, which Mama Debbie was crying and stuff, I don't think it's cool. So I agree with Tyree here. I do. But Miss Debbie, I think, was going too hard. I think she more so just has beef with Mama Debbie, if that makes sense. Anywho, Debbie tries to defend, everything. And Mama Debbie says that the way that Debbie is trying to defend Natalie is actually making Natalie more upset. And this is where it gets crazy. Miss Debbie is upset that she was called a clown. Mama Debbie then calls her pathetic. These ladies went at it, y'all. Miss Debbie brings up how Mama Debbie's family and her son wanted her out the house because she's a terrible woman. And Mama Debbie said, do not talk about her family. Don't come for her. She threatened her. Miss Debbie called her trailer trash. But you talk about people's family, what you expect, Miss Debbie. If somebody talk about my husband, like, I'm a firm believer that I should always be a lady. I should represent my family, my people, myself well. But if you talk about my husband in the wrong way, you might get smacked. And I don't feel that that's my fault. I feel like people should know better. So maybe that's just me, but that's just how I feel. But I felt like it was too low of Miss Debbie to talk about that lady's family, because that lady didn't say nothing about your family. And when Mama Debbie says not to talk about her family, Miss Debbie says, well, then keep my name out your mouth, woman. I said, oh, Lord. I said, these women are really going at it. It doesn't even make sense for them to have the beef that they had. And Veronica made a good point. She's like, Debbie, you're mad because this lady told you need to be proud of your age. And I agree. You don't need to lie about your age. Like you said, you're healthy and you look good. So tell the truth about your age. No one wants to start anything off with lies, especially in today's age. Everybody lies. Please don't add to that, Miss Debbie. It's just a little bit too much. Please don't add to it. So the old women go back and forth for a little bit. And then Mama Debbie ends up throwing fun and throwing shade at Miss Debbie for thinking that a 23-year-old would be in love with somebody the age of their grandmother. And, I will say that Mama Debbie did defend the hell out of Chantel. And Miss Debbie ended up, giving Tyree a hug, saying bye to everybody. And, then she refused to shake hands and waved her fan and Veronica and Mama Debbie. It was just a mess. So pretty much that's where the tell-all part 5 ended. I mean, everybody, for the most part, I felt like resolution came for most storylines. Tyree got his first kiss. He's made progress. He is a woman. So we know that he did not give up, you guys. And I think that is wonderful. John is engaged to Megan, who I think needs to see a therapist because she is unhealthily jealous. Chantel, I think, needs to just date and let go of Giannis. We didn't get much there. Natalie, I hope she really gets this divorce. But that was the season. That was my first time recapping the 90-day Single Life Tell All. I enjoyed it. The season is now over. I believe the next TLC show I'll be recapping will be with Oh So Best. We'll be recapping MILF Manor. It's a weird one, right? We're going to recap it and react to that. That will be available on Patreon because the things that we're going to say and the way that we're going to respond is going to be crazy. So I will make that announcement on the community board on YouTube shortly. I appreciate everybody for tapping in and tuning in. Our next recaps, for everyone who is wondering, will be today on my channel. We will be recapping Love and Hip Hop Atlanta with James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. I will also be a guest on his channel today for a live, I believe it's an unpopular opinion video that we'll be doing today. So be on the lookout for that. I appreciate all of you guys. We're going to end the live as we always do, listening to a song from Also Best, who contributes so much to keep the Mrs. Best Reviews channel going. So we're going to listen to his song Mood Change from his EP, Sincerely EXO and Oso. Thank you for tuning in, and you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoons.
Right in the car with a roof down. Yeah, she know the vibe, she kick down. They say EXO, good sound. They see me up, they hate it now. Hey, baby, so drunk I can see your face, baby. These memories are going vague, baby. Look at your mood, change your face, baby. I'm afraid, baby.
The mood changes like the ring I used to own. You pat your lips every time I leave at home. 20 minutes past 5, then you come. So a dome say you missed me and you won. That dreamland, I don't work at all. The papers would make love and thank the Lord. They dreaming all week, got me thinking how it would be if every day was the weekend with you. The Louis XB got you smiling and bubbly. I used to be a rude boy, yes I know. Down Venus, no beaches, very wrong.
Minutes, yeah.
Pronouncing Italian. When you ride like a heck stallion. Me too, baby, yes, you're my one.
Right in the car with a roof down. Yeah, she know the vibe, she kick down. They say EXO, good sound. They see me up, they hate it now. Hey, baby, so drunk I can see your face, baby. These memories are going vague, baby. Look at your mood, change your face, baby. I'm afraid, baby.
Fight for you cause you're my rock. With everything that I got. Resting, that's another thought. Was full of it's not a flex, that's all you pulling. Hey, EXO, and we the best, yo. The music don't stop till we success. Till we success. And when my wife got my side, anytime he hype.
I know how you are when you're high. I know you don't make kill your vibe. I know you're done with lies. For our love, we're gonna fight. Baby, I've been going through some stuff that's been on my mind for quite some time. Maybe I need a ride with the vibe. Keep my head down, yeah, just this time.
Just in time, just in time. Yes, you are. Just in time, just in time. Came into my life after just in time, man. Can be anytime and better. Oh, yes, in time, just in time. That's so about you. And also best. Just in time, just in time.